Hi everybody, I'm Heather, founder of Leavenly.com and the Sourdough Mamas community on Facebook. There was a lot of talk about this video by Cody Oakley. The link to that is down in the description below. He did this really cool technique where he takes his paper towel and puts flour on it and does a cool stencil on his sourdough bread. So I wanted to try it out and I wanted to go over it with you and show you what to do and also what not to do based on what I learned in my experience. So you're gonna end up with a super cool loaf with a really great pattern like this if you stick with this video and follow along. Can't wait to get started. All right, now in this video, I have 3 loaves of bread over here that are obviously still dough, but they have been pre-shaped and they're ready for shaping. So I'm going to do this loaf as the paper towel stencil in the 30 to 60 minute proof. This one is going to be with the paper towel stencil as well, but as a test, we're going to do the overnight cold proofing with this one, because that's a technique that I usually do. And then with this one, I'm going to show you guys how to do the normal flour stencil and how intricate that is. And so this is gonna just go into a Banneton and proof in the fridge overnight, but we'll get to that guy in a minute. So we'll start with this one. So I'll bring it over and we will just do its shape first. So I'm shaping my boule like this. If you guys need further help and instructions, I have lots of courses over at courses.leavenly.com that you could check out with lots of instructions on shaping and all kinds of stuff. So head on over there if you want some more detailed instructions, but that is not the point of this tutorial. I have a great big bubble there. I'm gonna pinch and shape a little bit more. Great, and then I'll just bring him back over here so he's out of the way. So just for fun, I'm gonna do 2 different patterns. So I have 2 different brands of paper towel. This first one is my regular Kirkland paper towel, and I'm going to basically put on about a 1/4 cup of flour, just right into the middle. Then I gently kind of pat it down to get all the chunks flat, and then just spread it out. So in every direction, you basically want to cover all of the paper towel. And it's okay if some comes off, you're not going to need it all. Just like that, kind of pat it down a little bit. And then once it's patted down, just kind of spread all the excess off. There we go, just like that. I normally proof in a Banneton, but for this, I'm going to proof just in a regular soup bowl. Just because it's got less high edges. So I'll put this here and then I'm going to really gently pick this up and try to transfer it on top of the bowl without disturbing the flour. So right in the middle. And I'll slide this forward so we have a better vantage point. Great, and then I'm gonna take my boule and flip him upside down into the paper towels. Right in the middle. And then what Cody does in his video is he kind of tucks the bread in all around like this. Try as hard as you can to wrap it all the way around, but it's okay if it doesn't work exactly. The important thing is that it's on the top of the dough. A good way to kind of hold all this down in place is to cover it with one of these dough covers from Challenger Breadware. These things are awesome. They come like these tiny little things and they open up into a bowl cover, and they're biodegradable too, which is super cool. So I basically pull it across like this, make sure all the sides are down, and then one last tuck. There we go, and this will be our 30 to 60 minute proof. Now, in Cody's video, he does a 1 hour proof. I am living at altitude. I live at 5,700 feet, and fermentation happens faster at elevation. So I'm gonna do 30 minutes on this one just so I don't risk overproofing it. So that's why I'm saying 30 to 60 minutes. Then we'll move on to number 2. So this is the guy who's going to cold proof. So we'll clear a little space to get him shaped. Okay, move him over, and then we're gonna do the same thing we did before, but with a different paper towel. So this was just like a store brand paper towel that we picked up that the pattern on it kind of looked neat. Then Again, push down the big chunks and start to spread it around. Then once it's pretty spread out, give it a little pat, and then kind of wipe off the excess. Now what's interesting is I can already kind of tell with this paper towel that there's a pattern emerging, and I didn't see that in my last one. But time will tell what our final results are. Then we'll bring our bowl over, lift this up, very carefully transfer it on top. Then put this bowl inside as well. So this one is going to go in the fridge overnight, and I will bake him in the morning and show you guys the results. But same idea, we're going to tuck him in and we'll put him to sleep with a dough cover over him. Now this last one we're going to put in a banneton. Just the regular way that I regularly proof my bread overnight. Just let that rest for a second. And we'll just plunk him right in there. My bannetons are well seasoned with flour, so I don't need to dust it, but if yours aren't, you should dust it heavily with flour. And that's it. I'll cover him up with a dough cover as well, and he's gonna go in the fridge overnight as well. So we'll check back in with that first loaf when it's done proofing. I'll show you how to flip it out onto the cutting board and peel off a paper towel and score it. So hang tight, we'll be right back. Okay, so it's been a little over 30 minutes for my loaf here, so let's take a look. Take off the cover, and we've already done the finger poke test, so I know that the fermentation is good. And now I'm gonna put on the bottom a little parchment square. I use these little guys. I actually would recommend getting bigger ones. These are 6x6. Next time I'd probably get 8x8s, but I'm just trying to use them up. But they're really great and really convenient. So just hold this on the bottom, and I'm gonna gently flip and slide my hand out. Peel this first paper towel off, and then the moment of truth. We'll see what this looks like. Pretty cool. Now, I'm not sure if the camera can pick this up real well, so I'm gonna actually pick this up and show you up a little closer. The pattern from the paper towel got embossed on top of the dough, which is super cool. So all I'm gonna do now in terms of scoring, because you do need to score to allow the gases to escape, I'm gonna do a simple ear, just like a top to bottom half circle. So quickly and confidently from the top, pull, 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 pull. There we go, and that's it. So all I did was I kind of smoothed out the flour on the edges because it was caked on a little bit there. And then it blends nicely into the top. So let's get this into the oven and we'll see what it looks like when it's baked. All right, this is what our very first loaf looks like. It just came out of the oven. It's still very hot. My first impression is that the pattern on the bread is not really visible. It's almost like there was too much flour. You can see it up close like this. You can see the pattern and it's really pretty, but it doesn't stand out as much as I would like. And like I mentioned before, when I was dusting the flour on the other type of paper towel, I noticed that the pattern was standing out a lot more on that paper towel. So I'm starting to wonder if it has more to do with the paper towel you use and less to do with the type of proofing that you choose to do. So this is loaf number 1. I'd still call it a success, but not quite what I was expecting. So let's see what happens in the morning. Okay, so it's the next day, and this is our dough that was in the fridge overnight. It is about almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I had made this about 9 o'clock last night, just for your time comparison. Also, I have my regular bowl here that is in my banneton, and this is the one I'm going to do with a flour stencil. I'm not going to show that on the video, so if you're interested in learning more about that, head on over to courses.leavenly.com, and there's a course there all about scoring and stenciling, so you'll be able to learn how I do that process over there. We're going to unpack this little dough and see how he's doing. So right away I notice it's a little bit damper on the top, so I'm curious to see how this turned out. So again, we'll put our parchment paper here on the bottom and flip and slide our hand out. All right, now take off this bottom one and pull this out from under it, and this is the kind of the moment of truth. It's stuck under there a little bit. All right. Ooh, now this one has a really nice appearance actually. I wonder if it's because the paper towel absorbed a lot of the moisture from the dough overnight, and then it made the flour a little more wet on the top. So really all that stands out to me are these dots. So I'll hold it up a bit closer just like I did before and show you the details. So that's what it looks like up close, and that looks pretty cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and get him scored and in the oven. Once I pull it out of the oven, I'll show you what all three look like, a side-by-side comparison. So hang tight and I'll just throw it in the oven. Okay, we have all three of our loaves baked and I'm really excited to show them to you. So this is the one that we did last night. This is the 30 to 40 minute room temperature proofing, and you can see there's a lot of flour on the top and not a lot was absorbed by the paper towel. There's still a nice pattern though, and that's still a beautiful loaf of bread. I'm really pleased with it. It's not exactly what I was expecting though. So interestingly enough, this was the more expensive paper towel that I had. And this one that I baked today, this was the overnight cold proof loaf. So we'll just give that a second to focus, and that is what it looks like. It's absolutely beautiful. It's really a cool pattern, kind of like square polka dots all over it, and a really nice ear in the back. So this is like a really beautiful loaf. It was really well fermented, and my theory that I had mentioned before about the type of paper towel mattering more than the type of proofing, I think holds true here. So I think it matters that your paper towel has big, deep divots. This was actually the store brand, really cheap paper towel just from Target. And the other one that I have is the one I usually buy from Kirkland. So again, not super expensive, but more expensive than this one. So that's a surprising result. Obviously, I prefer the look of this one. It doesn't have the caked on flour like the other one does, and it's just overall a really appealing loaf of bread. And then we have the flour stencil. So that is this one, just came out of the oven. So there's my flour stencil. So you can see the difference in the two. They both look nice and intricate. One looks a little more intentional, and that's this one. But this is a really neat pattern if you wanted to try that out. So again, a really nice ear on the back of this loaf, and just a nice flour stencil right on the top. So that's just comparing the three. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I always love to try new things with sourdough. So if you're excited to try this with your sourdough, give me a sourdough mama down in the comments below, and I will come in and cheer you on, because I'm really excited to see you do it, and I'm really excited to see your results. Give me a subscribe as well to this channel if you love this video and if you want more like this. I hope you can try this challenge. Happy baking!